Just got out of the San Diego Mayoral Forum with about walkability, cyclability, and bicycles, and making answering many of the major quality of life questions that we're dealing with here in town.
Great. So give us some general thoughts.
I think the questions are huge. And the questions are big, and they have huge impacts for San Diego, and it's our ability to not only attract and retain young people, but also in terms of economic development. We want to create jobs, we want to create communities that people want to work in and live in. We want to improve the environment, and clearly the way we get around our city is a huge part of that. I think both candidates definitely have ideas. Whether they can, we'll have to see if they can implement them. But what we know is, and that's unquestionable, is how important these issues are to the city. And I think it's going to be, for me, it's definitely one of the major issues I'll be looking at coming election.
Great. We had around 400 people here tonight, which granted is a small percentage of our city's population, but it speaks loudly, I think, for these candidates that these issues really are important. I do agree with some of the statements that were made tonight about how, for a very long time, we've been focusing on downtown in San Diego, and the idea is kind of like the trickle-down theory, where if you do good in downtown, it will trickle out to the other neighborhoods. Well, that really hasn't happened, and so I'm really happy to hear that there's some conversation about bolstering the infrastructure in our communities and revitalizing our communities, especially under the banner of quality of life. And we didn't talk much about healthy communities. We didn't ask those questions, which in retrospect now, I wish we would have talked about that, because that's a really major issue too.
I thought that the debate overall went really, really well. We covered a range of topics, everything from infrastructure finance to community plan updates to even Equinox's question of how do we get employers to support alternative and sustainable mobility in their everyday commute mode. So I thought the candidates did a pretty good job of answering questions. We had a couple of go-backs to say, how can you answer that more directly? But overall, I thought the debate went really well. It was very informative for the public, for the audience at hand, and it was good discussion.
Great. Are there any other quality of life indicators or issues out there that you really want to hear more from the candidates on?
We need to talk about, in this region, vehicle miles traveled and just how much we drive, because compared to other regions, we drive more than anyone else. It's based on our land uses, and that has to change. So getting back to that influences so many different things. That influences quality of life, that influences climate emissions, that influences just overall general environmental perspective. So we really need to take a look at vehicle miles traveled.